Tonight, a new independent panel created to settle disputes between Spencer Golf councillors. And from Forsyth Street to the stunning Ada Ryan Gardens, Whalers Christmas pageant returns with one special guest.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. The state government has introduced a new independent panel to tackle repeated and serious misbehaviour from council members. We spoke to Port Pirie Local and Minister for Local Government, Jeff Brock, who explains the purpose of the panel.
Clear behavioural standards that will apply to all council members across the state.
So credit to the previous government, they put this through the system, but what we want to do was to not enforce this, bring this into effect until after the recent council elections in November this month.
Mr Brock says the vast majority of council members act with integrity and professionalism and have the best interests of their communities. However, that isn't always the case.
But there are a few councils that have got this behavioural issue, and previously the council themselves had to arrange for that and go through their process and perhaps so often had to get legal advice, etc.
The new panel aims to see less ratepayers' money spent on mediators and lawyers to resolve disputes, and has mechanisms to deter bad behaviour such as suspension without pay.
So therefore they can't be a part of the democratic discussions about their community.
Council members will also take part in mandatory competency training, which will provide both new and experienced members with a clearer understanding of their roles and responsibilities.
And looking forward to working with all councils across all of South Australia, including Metropolitan, to have the image of councils up there where it should be, and that's with the integrity, the transparency and the dedication to our communities.
The 3-person panel was appointed by Her Excellency the Governor of South Australia, Francis Adamson, back in March, when Stephen Marshall was still Premier. Teelan Lagersa, Adam Crichton and Rosemary Jervis will remain part of the Behavioural Standards panel until November 2025. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Coffin Bay Council is making a fresh bid to fix the local jetty after it was damaged by storms. Now a community group has been formed, lobbying for funds to get the jetty reopened ASAP.
A final bid to restore a piece of the town's historical infrastructure. The Coffin Bay jetty has been standing for over a century, but after recent storms, it's looking a bit worse for wear.
Look, I'd love to have the jetty open tomorrow, but unfortunately we've got legal opinion from lawyers saying that it can't be done because of the engineers' reports. But there are other beaches, there's other areas in the district that can be used.
However, the township's new mayor, Jeffrey Churchett, is taking action. A working group has been formed, tasked with the responsibility of reopening the jetty as soon as possible.
4 or 5 local business people and community members that have formed a committee looking into ways that they can fix the jetty.
With long-term plans still up in the air, the short-term goal is to fix the section of the jetty where locals are known to fish from or dive off into the water. But they will need financial aid from the state government.
They certainly need the state government and any other help that we can get to get this jetty underway, because it's way beyond any funding that the local council has to fund a jetty.
Council has also decided to use extra cash from the local roads and community infrastructure program to fix the Port Neal jetty, equating up to $700,000.
So at the meeting last week we decided to move the money up to the full amount to the Port Neal jetty. That way that jetty is fully conditional and give us a lot longer term.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A man from interstate has allegedly been caught drink driving in Coffin Bay. Around 8:30 on Friday night, police stopped a Mazda along the Esplanade, where the driver complied to a breath test. The 26-year-old man from New South Wales allegedly returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.068. He was issued with an $800 fine on the spot and lost 4 demerit points. Upgrades to Broken Hill's signage and wayfinding continues to gather momentum, with a historical writer adding to the city's story. The project is set to be more interactive for tourists instead of just reading off a sign.
Bringing history to life and helping improve tourism in the Far West. That's what the $800,000 signage and wayfinding project is all about.
So the wayfinding and signage project is funded by the New South Wales State Government, specifically to improve tourism products and services throughout regional New South Wales.
Historical writer Kylie Fitzpatrick has been procured to expand on the city's stories as well as write new ones. The result will be more wayfinding signage with an interactive website featuring people who made Broken Hill what it is today.
Attached to that is a digital component where visitors will be able to tap on specific signage and learn much more about the heroes, the larrikins, the visionaries and all the interesting people that made Broken Hill what it is today.
The project is set to improve the tourist experience, giving out-of-towners an interactive and user-friendly way of understanding the Silver City.
It will give them the opportunity to know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and understand some of the heritage behind the city. As Australia's first heritage city, it's really the people that made the city what it is today.
The project is set to be finished by mid-next year. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Gulf News.
Santa Claus returned to the Still City over the weekend for the much-cherished Whyalla Christmas pageant. After COVID restrictions forced the event online in recent years, families flocked to the main street to celebrate as a community.
After a 2-year hiatus, the traditional Christmas pageant that Whyalla knows and loves has made its return. The event seeing different businesses, schools and community groups come together to spread some Christmas cheer.
We've been very grateful that we've had a lot of donations from people in the community, whether it be books or we've had assistance with the costume shop and the Whyalla players helping with some pieces of the costumes. And it's just, even though, we've only got 3 floats, it is a lot of effort and the community has really helped with that.
There were colourful characters everywhere, from Snow White and her 7 dwarves to mermaids and Muppets. The warm evening air certainly seeing some work up a sweat beneath those heavy costumes. Families lining the streets could hear the familiar roar of motorbikes signalling the start of the beloved event, closely followed by a procession of vintage cars, energetic dance troupes and the city's brass band. Then it was time for the floats to hit the road.
I'll be driving the Barbie float and the big spider, Charlotte's Web float.
And I'll be handing out books and lollies to children.
But there was one man in particular that everyone was keen to see, the big man in red himself.
I wish all the boys and girls who are watching here on television and at the pageant a very happy Christmas and enjoy your family and have a very good time. Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho!
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, coinciding with the pageant, Whyalla's new beachfront café opens to big crowds. And supporting those less fortunate, Broken Hill's Wishing Tree now accepting gifts. Welcome back. Whyalla residents can now get their treats by the beach just in time for summer. The new Seaview Cafe now welcoming in customers for a coffee or a spot of lunch.
The Seaview Cafe has officially opened its doors at the Whyalla foreshore, with the brand new establishment ready to provide much needed service to the beautiful beachside location.
It is fantastic. Ready for summer. Yes, it's taken us a bit longer than we would have liked, but we're here. People can have their breakfast. It's been roaring today, absolutely. People have been supporting it.
To have people here on the Sunday morning at 9 o'clock before we even actually open the doors waiting for us is great. The support we got today, this morning, is unbelievable. It is really good for the community.
Operators Michelle Dix and Robbie Riggs say since firing up the grill on Saturday afternoon, they have seen an amazing number of people pouring through their doors, making all their hard work and preparations well and truly worth it.
The contractors coming in and doing what they've got to do for us, it's been a very long process, tiring, but we're actually excited and really looking forward to the future.
Serving barista-made coffee, fish and chips, burgers, sandwiches, and of course ice cream. The business has all the staples for a meal down the beach.
What could be better than coming down to the foreshore, having your coffee, looking out at that magnificent view over summer? Fantastic.
Let's go. Bring on summer and let's see how we can go.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The Salvation Army's wishing tree opened in Broken Hill today. Stationed out the front of Kmart, the charity is collecting gifts for those less fortunate this festive season.
It's just under a month away, but Christmas cheer is definitely in the air. The Salvation Army planting the wishing tree at the front of Kmart. The retailer has been partnering with the charity for over 35 years across Australia, but the pairing is still relatively new in the Silver City.
Only 2 years in Broken Hill because the store's only been here a short time, but they've just done a fantastic job. We're so delighted with the way that Kathy and Georgie and the team have organised things.
With the cost of living going up, there are families doing it tough around the country. The wishing tree helps ease the burden for families, but the charity also does Christmas hampers.
We're certainly seeing quite a keen interest in people applying for hampers. And certainly, the other agencies are also doing their part to try and assist.
The wishing tree caters for toddlers right up to teens. While basics are great, you can also choose items a bit left of centre.
People can be a little bit, creative in what they do. It could be, movie tickets or, some other things that might be able to brighten the day for teenagers.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break, continuing tonight's theme of giving this Christmas, how you can help local businesses in Port Pirie over the festive season. And the AFLW wraps a stellar season with a grand final clash between the Lions and the D's. Welcome back. Police in Port Lincoln are investigating several incidents of rocks being thrown at cars. The alleged incidents were reported to police last Tuesday, November 22, after multiple cars were struck with rocks along Dublin Street between 4:20 and 6 p.m. Dangerous acts like this can cause serious injuries or even death if the rock causes the driver to swerve off the road and into other cars. Police are now asking anyone who might have witnessed the rock throwing to come forward and contact Crime Stoppers. As we saw in Broken Hill a little earlier in our bulletin, Christmas is a time for giving, and it's important to remember that not everyone is fortunate enough to buy gifts. But there is a way you or your business can help to ensure no one feels left out.
The Port Pirie Christmas Drive donation is back, ready to make locals feel special this festive season.
So that might be in the form of hampers, or if there's children in the family, then we would include age-appropriate and gender-appropriate gifts for them.
Volunteers say there's often a lack of gifts for teenagers and young adults, and say they can provide you with a list of ideas to help.
We seem to get a lot of donations for the younger, the little ones seem to be a little bit easier to buy for.
There are many different ways you or your workplace can make a difference over the coming weeks.
Businesses have offered to donate to our appeal instead of giving each other Christmas presents, which is very generous and very much appreciated.
Over the years, local residents have shared stories about how the donation drive has helped them and their families.
He said he'd been a really good boy, but why did he only get one gift and his friend got 20 from Santa? So that's sort of where we can come in and support families like that and hope that these families can reach out to us to support them.
In Port Pirie, the donation drop-off points are at Kmart and Uniting Country SA on Florence Street. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And the Melbourne Demons have won their first ever AFLW Grand Final, clinching victory over the Brisbane Lions, despite their underdog status against the ladder leaders. The game was a tight affair, which made for some thrilling entertainment for those in the crowds in the Sunshine State. The Demons were slow to get onto the scoreboard as the Lions had an 11-point lead, but Nam managed to move ahead in the tight final quarter to take their much-deserved win. At the final siren, the D's won 2-3-15 to 2-7-19.
I'm just so proud, 7 years in the making, and it's taken every single one of us, you guys included, but the players that took the field, the whole squad, Mick and the coaches, all our staff, all the staff across the road who just keep this club ticking.
Meantime, Brisbane says while the loss does burn, their best is yet to come. Maybe next year we'll see Whyla's Hannah Ewings get to the grand final. But stay with us after the break. We recap the weekend's cricket games across the Gulf, and summer is just days away. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. The last week of spring saw plenty of cricket around the region, but some comps didn't see any action at all. Here's Daniel Pizarro with this week's Cricket Wrap.
Plenty of cricket on the weekend, but no such luck for the Port Pirie and Eastern Air competitions. For Port Pirie, round 6 was entirely abandoned. Round 7 is this weekend. As for the Eastern Air competitions, half the teams forfeited against their opponents. We'll see if they have better luck this weekend. But round 6 of the Northern Super League did manage to get off the ground. North Whyalla easily defeated Central Augusta, conceding no wickets to their opponents. Meanwhile, the Quan Rupina game had to be abandoned, and Central Whyalla held their own over South Augusta, taking their game by 5 wickets. West Augusta had the bye. In Port Lincoln, round 7 of A grade had Waybacks take down Todd River by 8 wickets, and Charlton would be feeling very sorry for themselves, crushed by Southern Air by 145 runs and 4 wickets. Tasman had the bye weekend. And over in the Silver City of Broken Hill, round 6 of the Barrier District Cricket Association saw Central try their best to take down West, but fell short by 22 runs and 2 wickets. Meanwhile, the Roos were thrashed by North by 158 runs at Jubilee Oval. This weekend, round 6 of Northern Areas cricket returns after the entire comp had their bye over the weekend, and we'll see if the Pirie and Eastern Air comps see some action. I'll be back tomorrow night with more sports results from across the region.
Cheers, Daniel. See you tomorrow. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, summer in just a few days.
It is, Maddie, but you wouldn't have known it today. It wasn't cold, but it certainly wasn't the summertime conditions we're used to at this time of year. Port Augusta, for example, reached just 21 compared to 36 last Friday. Elsewhere, it was sunny in Broken Hill, reaching 23 degrees this afternoon, just 16 in Clare. Looking more broadly at today's weather map, 25 degrees in Cooper Pedy, the warmest temperature on our map, 21 in Woodnam, Port Pirie, while and Port Lincoln reached 18 in Kadina and Adelaide. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a high pressure system south of Western Australia will move slowly eastwards this week to be centred south of the Bight on Wednesday. A northerly airstream will be over the state later in the week. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southwest to southeasterly swell 10 to 20 knots, seas around a metre, increasing to 1.5, and south to southwesterly swell 1 to 2 metres. Cloudy conditions around Port Lincoln tomorrow between 11 and 21 degrees. Cloud clearing around Cleve, set to reach a high of 23 there. Woodna will be a nice and warm 28 degrees. Cloud clearing around Whyalla on Tuesday, 22, mostly sunny, and 26 in Port Augusta, down to 13 degrees tonight. Kadina cloud clearing and 23 degrees. Port Pirie is set to reach a high of 24 degrees tomorrow, 21 on the way for Clare, and wear sunscreen if you're going outside in Broken Hill tomorrow. The UV index is predicted to reach extreme levels, especially between 9:20 and 5:20. Temperature-wise, 25 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, starting with Wednesday, the last day of spring, mostly sunny conditions across the region, a bit of cloud coverage in Port Lincoln, Kadina and the capital. Temperatures between 21 and 32 degrees. Moving on to Thursday's forecast, and it's no no regular Thursday. It's the first day of summer, 33 degrees and sunny in Cooper Pedy and Woodner, Port Augusta and Port Pirie set to reach the 30s, 28 in Broken Hill, sunny top of 27 in Whyalla, Kadina and Adelaide. And finally, taking a quick look at the outlook for Friday, a clean sweep of sun icons across the board. 37 is the warmest temperature at the moment. That's in Woodner, 34 degrees on the way for Port Augusta, Port Pirie sunny and 33, 26 degrees in Port Lincoln. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. Bring on summer, I say. I'll see you soon with an update. It's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.